What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV back here for another update, and it's been a while. Mr. Brian Daigle back on the channel. How you doing, my bro?
I'm doing good, brother. It's actually good to be able to speak to you on a normal time zone. Watching all yours and Simeon's exploits in the Far East, it looked incredible.
Yeah, it was an unbelievable trip. Good to be home. Good to be back with the family, and good to talk some Tottenham transfers with you, my friend.
Always a pleasure, brother. Always a pleasure.
So let's get into it, and let's start off with the Daily Emerson, which looks like it could be drawing to an end, as Fabrizio Romano says that AC Milan and Tottenham will have a final round of talks to close the Emerson Royal deal tomorrow. 15 million euros plus add-ons package. Emerson on the verge of becoming a new Milan player. And this is the one that you're going to like. Matti Moretto says that Emerson Royal to Milan is imminent. Tomorrow will be the direct contact with Tottenham to close the deal for the Brazilian fullback. The final figure should be around 15 to 16 million euros in total, including bonuses. And Damasio says that Emerson Royal to AC Milan is expected to finally close in the next few hours. So hopefully we're going to get the here we go very, very soon on this one.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully we get the here we go. But then what are all our Spurs YouTubers going to talk about with this and Conor Gallagher all wrapped up? We've got nothing to talk about. Yeah, listen, it's been closer and closer. Final steps, concrete, imminent. Imminent is the word that we love. Yeah, but it looks like this one has finally coming to the end. And I wish him well. And I actually think he'll do well in Milan.
Yeah, I agree. In terms of right backs for next season, and Pedro Porro's there, and then Fabrizio Romano did say that Spurs could be potentially looking for right backs after Emerson Royal leaves. Would you prefer to give Jed Spence the go, or do you think we should bring in another right back?
Well, I think Jed Spence is the obvious option, and you got to see him at very close quarters on your tour. I think he's been one of, if not the most impressive player on the tour. He really has shown what he can do. It looks like these couple of years have matured him on the pitch, and he's got a better understanding of what Ange wants than what we would have thought last season. I think he definitely deserves the chance, A, because of his performances, and B, I would rather the money we'd use to spend on a right back goes towards your striker, your winger, your wherever we're going. So I would rather not see us going for another right back.
Yeah, I'm completely with you on that one. And in terms of what you're saying about players who have impressed most on the tour, I would say he has impressed, but I'd actually say the player that's impressed most on the tour so far is Dejan Kulusevski. I think he's been incredible so far in this preseason. And me and you have had our words to say about Decky, haven't we?
Yeah, I mean, Simeon is the one that normally stands by him, and you and me have been very aligned. But as I've said when I've come on the show as well, to me, on the wing, he's just not the right player for Ange. Put him in the middle, and it is a different Dejan Kulusevski. He has been very impressive. Yeah, you're right. I might have misplaced where I said it. Him and Spence, I would say, then have been probably the two ones that you could think of that have stood out. But yeah, you're right. Decky has. I have to give credit where it's due. Like I said, I criticise where I think it's warranted, and I have to say, well done to Decky. He's had a very, very good pre-season.
In terms of the deal, though, for Emerson, which looks like it's going to be between 15 and 16 million euros plus, including bonuses, is that a good deal for Emerson?
Just to get him off the team sheet, get him off the wage bill. We all knew he wanted Milan. 20 million when we first heard it was ridiculous. Then we heard the 10 million from Milan. So we always knew it was going to be somewhere around the middle. And the deal has been done longer than we would have expected to take. But yeah, I think it's a fair valuation.
I believe this is winning you a bet as well.
It is winning me a bet. Nick, Barry, Sean, Phil, Grant has to now, once we get the here we go and it's done, replicate an Emerson TikTok of my choosing to put on Tottenham on Tour's TikTok. So I don't have TikTok, but I will be trailing through them with people that do to find the appropriate one.
It's fun. It's actually just like a bit of breath of fresh air, this one, because we've been reporting on the same update literally for about the last month, 2 months, about
Yep.
Emerson Royal, AC Milan and Tottenham not so far away, blah, 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 blah. It's good to finally reach, or very close to reaching, that conclusion. As we say, it's imminent.
That's it. And like we said, this is a thing. Surely it's best for him to get out to Milan and get integrated into the team. It's to get funds available again, clear some space. And now let's just hope the ones coming in don't take as long, because we haven't got that much time. But hopefully now the real target and the real strategy can be these incomings.
Yeah, absolutely. But let's talk about Richarlison up next, his fellow counterpart Brazilian. Footy Insider says that Tottenham are expecting to receive a huge bid from Saudi Arabia for Richarlison in the coming days. The forward has already been offered a significant salary increase to make the move and is now considering his options. Alex Crook says that Richarlison is believed to be open to make a lucrative switch to the Middle East. Saudi deal makers have indicated they are willing to meet Spurs' 60 million valuation of Richarlison, with Al Ahly as a potential destination. With all this talk about Dominic Solanke coming in, all this talk we've heard from Paul O'Keefe saying that Lancashire could be the backup striker going into next season, this one just makes complete sense, doesn't it?
It does. I mean, I looked at it as well. If Lancashire was going to stay and we're going to have 3 recognised forwards to use, then I didn't understand if Richarlison goes and Solanke comes in. Yes, people will debate, may or may not have improved the quality, but numerically you haven't strengthened as a team, have you? You've just replaced. But if you can get what we paid for him back, then I think it's a no-brainer, because we just cannot guarantee him to stay fit. And that's obviously a huge, huge issue moving forward. So if you can get 50, 60 million back for him, you've got to take it, haven't you?
Yeah, that's where I'm at with it. Like, I like him. I like his attitude. I like when he played last season, 11 goals in that stretch. I thought he was brilliant, particularly that game against Everton and the goals that he showed. And I felt like he showed that he can play in an Ange Postecoglou system. I don't think he's completely suited to it, but I think he can do a job, and I think he's shown that he can do that. And his energy and application is always spot on that football pitch. But it's always about the injuries, isn't it? And I feel like if you can bring in a Dominic Solanke for a similar price, you go and do it. Because I actually think Dominic Solanke is actually tailor-made for this system. I think he's going to be brilliant in it, and good pressing forward, that knows where the back of the net is, good in the air. And for someone who just can't get on the pitch, I think you just take the money.
Well, the way I look at it as well, before I just mentioned Solanke, with Richarlison, we've been praising how well the club have done to get the players out that they have this year and clear so much money off the wage bill. If we don't get rid of Richarlison or sell Richarlison now, his value is going to keep going down the less he's playing and the less we can guarantee. So could that be another 60 million or 50 million before the bonuses kick in, that then we just let go near the end of his contract or don't get this kind of valuation for? I think it'd be crazy not to take it for the value. When it comes to Solanke, I'm still torn. I was very against it to begin with. I just didn't understand it. But for me, with Solanke, if he comes in a top-class winger, and I mean top-class, a Neto or whatever, has to come in, because we need to get that service into him. If we can get the service into him with quality, and we know that has been a problem with our wingers cutting in and not going to the byline, then it will make a lot more sense to me. But yeah, with Richarlison, if we can get what we paid back or as close to, I think just for his lack of game time, you've got to take it.
If we were to bring in a Solanke with a Neto from now to the end of the window, and that's our only business that we do this summer, would that represent a good window for you?
You bring in Archie Gray, you bring in Bergvall. Listen, I will say, getting rid of the deadwood, whether it's good value or not that we've returned, we've got them out. It's been a fantastic window for outgoing. If we're just judging on outgoing, this window has been absolutely impeccable. Incomings, I think if those two come in, Ange said he wanted his forward line rejuvenated. Neto, Solanke's son is certainly rejuvenated and is more potent and threatening. Do I think maybe we could have gone out and got better? Maybe. Neto, injury is obviously a huge concern, but he is a game changer when fit. So there's still holes, but looking where we are now, with the unknown to saying they come in, it's certainly a lot better than what we thought it is right now.
Do you think bringing in Neto, we know, he's going to get a big injury throughout the season. He has it every year. If we can get him on the pitch for, let's say, 20 games a season and give the rest of those minutes to, let's say, a Mikey Moore, I mean, that'll do very well for his development, wouldn't it?
I also think when you look at it as well, Ben, is you get someone in like him, maybe it'll have an impact on Brennan Johnson. Brennan Johnson will be learning off a higher caliber winger as well and see how he works on and off the pitch. The main thing is, I mean, I don't know, with the new medical guy going, I was joking about saying I'm already more confident we'll keep him on the pitch for longer because he's gone. But yeah, I think Neto, what he can show the other potential right wingers is competition. He to me is a massive game changer. He is if someone said you guarantee him for 80% of the season to be fit, I think a lot of teams go, right, I'm taking that without foul. I'd rather Eze because of my love for that man. But yeah, if Neto comes in and we can keep him fit, my God, what a signing.
I agree with the quality of the player, but I just don't trust that we can keep him fit.
That's the problem.
Last season, he had 2 big hamstring injuries, and this Ange team and the way we play our football is probably going to be more taxing on his hamstrings. And once your hamstrings start going when you're a fast player like that, like I'm concerned with Mickey van der Ven as well and his hamstrings. Yep. He had 2 hamstrings last year and he had his hamstring problems at his previous club. So I do worry with that situation with the hamstring problem. I do think he can get over maybe the other injuries that he's had, but once your hamstrings start going, it is a big concern, isn't it?
It is. But Ben, let me chuck a question back at you regarding this. When he was at Wolves, it was imperative we got him fit. Or sorry, they got him fit. And as soon as he was fit, bang, you're our star man, you're our key man. You've got to go in. And maybe, like we've done with players before, we've rushed them back, like we did Bentancur and other players down the line. So should he come for Spurs and should he get a hamstring, will Spurs have the quality in a Johnson, in a Moore, in a Kulusevski, who we've said we don't like on the wing, but obviously has played there? Will that mean a Pedro Neto, should he get an injury, isn't rushed back as quickly as he was with Wolves?
Yeah, no, we should be able to cope. Like you said, Brennan Johnson backing him up and Mikey Moore backing him up. I think we should have enough, and on the left-hand side. And the good thing about Neto is he can play either side to equal quality as well. So I agree. I think he's a top player, and I think he's exactly what we need. But I'm just going to keep bringing it back to the injuries. Like I'll just prefer to go to someone that doesn't have the history of injuries that he has.
Yeah, I mean, that is always going to be a concern for anyone you buy, isn't it? And we will have to wait and see what happens. But like I said, if Spurs can keep him fit and have the quality to not have to force him back, and you've got to remember as well, game management in four competitions has got to be worked on as well. So hopefully there will be enough time for him to rest, to recover and not pick up these injuries, and also obviously not rush back as quickly as he would be for Wolves.
Yeah, that's a good point. And obviously, I'm saying that, I've said it all along that I don't think that we should be signing Neto because of the injury problems. But let's get it right. Like if we did sign him, I'd get super excited because I really believe in his qualities. I think he's a top caliber player and one of the best wingers in the Premier League. That's how highly I rate him. But let's finish off talking about a couple of the academy products. First of all, Nile John has left the club today. The officials said that we have reached an agreement with Liga Portugal 2 side Fiorense for the transfer of Nile John, wishing Nile all the best. And he took to social media to put out a really heartfelt message. And he said, as I reflect on the past 14 years I've spent at the club, I'm overwhelmed with the gratitude for the experiences and relationships I've formed during my time here. It's truly been an honor to be part of such a wonderful community. All I ever wanted to do was represent your colours with pride and passion, and I'm incredibly grateful for those around me to help achieve my dreams of playing for this beautiful club. From the very beginning, I was welcomed with open arms and given the opportunities to grow both personally and professionally. The support received by staff has been invaluable, helping me to overcome challenges and celebrate successes. I want to extend a heartfelt thank you to everyone who has been part of this journey. Your friendship, mentorship, and honesty has meant the world to me. The memories we have created together will always hold a special place in my heart. Although it is time for me to move on to a new adventure, I will always cherish the time I spent at the club. And have you ever heard such a beautiful message before from a parting player before?
It just goes to show what Spurs meant to him. And they do have love for this club. It's a wonderfully worded goodbye, isn't it, as a sign-off statement. Good luck to him. Obviously, he got kind of a little breakthrough in the Nuno era, as short as that was, but he got some minutes. The thing we've seen this now with him and Santiago. Santiago, not so much because he's going back. He's a Spanish guy going to Spain, but it's good to see, and not just with Tottenham, the youngsters and the up-and-coming talent now prepared to go into different leagues rather than waiting around for England. And obviously, with the rising of all these stars we have coming through, Nile John had just gone further and further down the pecking order and had an opportunity to go to a new country, a new language, new culture. And I wish him every success. And I hope he does incredibly well there. And people like Troy Parrott, people like Marcus Edwards have thrived in it. Madueke, who's now at Chelsea. I hope he goes on and this is the spark to a good career for Niall John.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, you're right to point out when he was trying to kind of break into team. I think he got minutes in the Conference League, I believe, against Wolfsberger, I think it was. And he got some minutes in the Europa League as well, which I can't remember the team he played against. But yeah, look, what can I say? But I do wish him all the best. He's been here for a long time. And let's hope he can take his career to the next level now and get consistent minutes. What I noticed today with the under-21s, because they had a friendly today, that Tyrese Hall, Max Robson, and George Abbott were back with the under-21s today. But what also I noticed, Sunsot Bell was playing there, but the rest of them were still with the first team. When you're looking at Devine, Mikey Moore, and all the rest of the under-21s, the names skip my mind at this current moment in time, but there are more of them. Lancashire being one of them.
Yep.
Is that a signal to you that maybe these players are going to be spending the season with the under-21s?
I really hope so. And I will say, whilst you're away, the player ratings, I watched them all in full, but before I watched them all in full, I make sure I skip to the bit where you talked about my boy Alfie Devine. And your comments and Simeon's comments were things I was loving to hear. I'll use Alfie Devine as a point of reference because obviously with my love affair for him, I'm trying to work out right now, and this goes for all the players, but I'm using Alfie as the example. It is being around the first team right now, all brilliant, wicked, you're staying with the first team and gaining this experience now. I'm trying to work out if keeping him within the first team and giving him minutes, let's say in Carabao Cups, Europa League, and maybe Premier League, is being around the first team with minutes, sparing minutes or bit parts, going to be more beneficial to his progression rather than a loan to, let's say, a top championship team or lower, where he's going to be playing every single week and getting that experience. I can't work out which one, heart over head, which one I would go for. Where are you with it, Ben?
I'm looking at Alfie, and I think he, again, like when we mentioned earlier in the show, the players that have been impressed most in this preseason, I think Alfie Devine's gone really under the radar, and I think he's up there with one of the players that have impressed most out of the whole team in preseason. But I'm looking at our midfield options, and I'm not sure where he fits in, because you're looking at the number 6, you've got Bissouma and Gray. I think they're both ahead of him at the moment. You're looking at the 8 options. You've got, at this moment in time, Bentancur, Sarr, Lucas Bergvall. So you're looking at the 10 as well. You've got James Maddison and potentially Lucas Bergvall as well. So I'm looking at those options and I'm thinking maybe another year out on loan, but a really good, successful loan spell where he plays week in, week out, lower end of the Premiership, higher end of the Championship. I think that's probably the best for his development for this next year. And then he really comes back next year to stake a claim in that first team.
Yeah, I mean, I personally know I earmark the team. I think with Ross Barkley back to Villa, I think Luton and the way that manager played would be the absolute perfect team for Alfie Devine to get regular minutes, play across the middle, and really get regular minutes. Premiership, I think they could even do what they did with him with Paul Port Vale and then upgrade him to Plymouth, send him out to Championship, and if he does thrive, then say, right. But yeah, this is the thing with these players, and there are so many, like you mentioned, that are staying. Donnelly, do you think he's going to get the minutes? Is it going to be a left back? Is it going to be advanced? Is it going to be if Destiny's not fit? Is Spence going to go left? That's the thing Ange Postecoglou's got to work on, hasn't it? It's do I see a place for them in game management with all these 4 competitions, or do I think long term and get them out to play regularly and earn their stripes? So it's great to see them associated with the first team, though. It shows that there's a clear pathway, an indication that these players are looking to be part of my future. And let's hope they do.
Yeah, absolutely. I just want to touch on Jude Soonsup-Bell, though, because at 20 years of age, he didn't go on the tour. He hasn't been recognised at all for the first team. And you're looking at players like Mikey Moore, 16 years of age, Lancashire, 19 years of age. He's the oldest member of the under-21 squad now. And he can't push above that under-21s after even such a successful season last year. Do you feel like he does have a future at this football club?
I think he does, but I think, again, this is one, if we earmark someone that definitely needs to go on loan, who's obviously not going to get first team minutes, he would be head of the queue because he's not going to get first team minutes. So the others you can stake a claim for, but I've really liked what I've seen from Soonsup-Bell when I have watched the youth team. So I hope we can find him. I would love him, if we're picking teams, to go with Chris Davies, go to Birmingham. Go play under him where you know he'll be looked after, you know he's been seen, and go from there. But I think he has definitely got to go out on loan.
But, you know, with him, I feel like it's probably his last season, because if he does go out on loan and doesn't really do well, at the age of 21, he can't come back and play with the under-21s. He's going to be too old.
Yep.
So I feel like it's his last chance to loon now this season.
Yeah, but let's hope he takes it. I mean, he grabbed the ball by the horn since he's been here, hasn't he? So let's hope going out to getting regular minutes he can carry on, because he does look like he's got something and can be a part of Spurs' future.
Yeah, let's hope so, along with the long list of many other names.
Exactly.
There. But Brian, thank you so much for joining me today. Let the people know what you got coming up on the channel.
Yeah, I mean, every day, Monday to Friday, morning brews and evening brews at 9 a.m. UK time, morning brews, 6 p.m. weekdays, evening brews. And then obviously, once the season kicks in, the return of Anja management for a second season and other new content coming. But Ben, obviously, thank you for having me back on again. It's always a pleasure to be on the channel and especially spend time with you or Simeon.
Always a pleasure to have you back on as well. But everyone, do go and subscribe to Tottenham on Tour. But thank you, everyone. Hopefully we'll have another Emerson Royal and the final Emerson Royal update for you tomorrow. But once again, big up to all of you for coming and joining the show today. Like, subscribe, and comment. And as always, come on, you Spurs.